The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
I'm horror author T. Fox Dunham.
And I'm filmmaker and author Phil Thomas.
And tonight we're asking you...
What are you afraid of?
Countdown to Halloween.
We survived the clowns.
Oh my god, how do we do that?
I don't know. It's like Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Whenever they die or the world dies, they just go to another dimension and live there.
You're the second person that talked about Rick and Morty this week.
It's a good show.
I've never seen it.
It's all.
So I think that's the universe telling me I need to watch it.
You do need to watch it. It's a terrible, dark, and horrible show.
Speaking of clowns, I saw it.
Did you see it? What did you think?
I thought it was good. I thought it was really good.
You liked it?
I really liked it. Yes.
I've heard some good things.
I love the fact that they're doing the two parts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they focused on the kids this time.
Right.
And then they're going to jump ahead, I guess next year, and, focus on them 27 years later?
27, when they're adults.
As adults.
The two.
Yeah. That's going to be awesome.
How was Pennywise?
Oh, Pennywise was great. I don't know who played Pennywise, but I still like Tim Curry, but this Pennywise was really cool.
Right.
They had a little bit the modern jump scares and stuff, a little bit. And Pennywise had this really, he kind of comes upon the kids really fast, like a really erratic way, which the original didn't do that in the 80s. But the movie does take place in the 80s.
Okay.
It does take place in the 80s, but 89.
It looks like it's Bill Skarsgård.
Oh, is that who it was? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that was.
Well, he did a good job. So
did he?
Yeah.
Okay. He was going to make or break it.
Yeah, he really was. And have you not seen it yet?
I've not.
Okay, you should.
I could get around. Maybe we can go.
It was a decent. I would see it again.
Yeah, I could do that.
It was a decent 2 hours and 20 minutes. So you get your money's worth for going there. But it went really fast, and it has the kid. I thought there's no spoilers here, but it has the kid from Stranger Things. I don't remember his name, but he's like the main kid. And he was really funny. I'm not going to say any more than that, but he actually made those kids he kind of made the movie for me.
Oh, cool! I've heard people liked him a lot.
And he did a great job. And if you've seen Stranger Things, anyone's seen Stranger Things out there, his character is very different. I mean, way different. You wouldn't even know it's the same kid. You ask him, and that's good acting.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is episode 58.
Yes.
Post Clowns. No.
That's our official name, Post Clowns.
What a crazy episode that was.
Yeah. You know what? I'm still mad at you for putting glitter in my shotgun shell.
Oh, yeah, well, you survived. You're fine.
I know.
We're all here. We're ghosts, but we're here.
That's right.
That really came out well. So this is episode 58. Ghosts of Anchor Bay.
And we're going to hit 60 during October, probably.
Yeah, we are. Actually, we are. And it's October. It's our crazy time.
Yeah.
What happens to a ghost when their home is torn down? No one thinks of the disembodied when they rip down old buildings, dig up cemeteries, and build clean, unhauntable condos. Every year, hundreds of spirits are driven out of their own haunts by the careless living to exist alone with no one to scare. At Para X Radio, our hosts feel the plight of these evicted disembodied, and we're reaching out to you to please open your heart to one of these lost souls, such as the ghost soldier of the General Wayne Inn or the abandoned spirit cat of Benjamin Rush. So please, please, let a little spooky into your life. Won't you open your house to a ghost without a home?
Para X.
We've all experienced messages from beyond the silver veil, whether we want to admit it or not. Some people take no notice, ignoring these outreaches. Others embrace them, seeing them as evidence of an expanded universe. Whether these stories frighten or comfort, we are reassured.
The mission of What Are You Afraid Of? Horror and Paranormal Show is to explore the dark side through paranormal investigation, folklore, and the arts. The show is an audio magazine. We share true ghost stories, dark fiction, interviews with ghost hunters and indie authors, filmmakers, artists, and musicians. We discuss industry issues and offer support. We have a unique and varied theme that creates a show unlike others.
Our weekly show is featured on all major podcast services, including iHeartRadio, iTunes, and YouTube. We are a part of ParaX Radio.
We need your true ghost experiences, so write them down in an email, preferably under 2,000 words, which comes to about 3 or 4 typed pages, and send them to whatareyouafraidof117@gmail.com. Please don't attach them as a file. And don't worry about trying to write like Charles Dickens. Just tell us your story as if you were telling a friend. And if you're not sure if it's actually a ghost story or not, but it's still weird, send it anyway. Also send us your photos, EVPs, recipes, your thoughts, and any artwork.
Check out our website at www.whatareyouafraidofpodcast.com for our ghost story archives, articles, photos, and expanded material. And you can buy t-shirts, mugs, laptop covers, and animals apparently with our logo on it. Follow us at Twitter at PFWhatAfraidOf. That's PFWhatAfraidOf.
You cannot escape the darkness, so explore it with us now at
What Are You Afraid Of?
Debi Chestnut is back on the show. Remember Debi? It was number 20, Shadow Stalkers. She was on the show. She had a book out called Stalking Shadows about her work as a paranormal investigator. And she's got a new book coming out, Haunted Anchor Bay, Michigan. She lives up in Michigan.
Yeah.
And she's back tonight. Debi, hi.
Hey, Fox. How's it going?
Oh, pretty good. How's you?
I'm great.
And you remember Phil? Phil's still a little mad at me for putting glitter in his shotgun.
I think that's hilarious. Hi, Phil.
How you doing, Debbie?
Great.
Nice to hear you again.
You too.
Yeah,
I can't believe it's that long. Episode 20.
20 episodes.
It didn't
this is
seem
58.
like I didn't think it was that long ago.
It premiered on October 1st, 2016. Okay. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It was our opening to October.
Not bad.
To Halloween's coming up, yeah. But Debi is back, and she's got a great new book coming out, Haunted Anchor Bay, Michigan, and she's given us a couple of ghost stories from it tonight, which we'll play on the show, so that'll be a whole lot of fun, as we do our countdown to Halloween on What Are You Afraid Of? Horror and Paranormal Show on ParaX Radio on Friday nights, and also now on the EMC Podcast Collective, and also available on all major podcast services. And we have a new website, actually, same address, but I've been working like crazy, and the website looks so much better.
It does. Completely revamped. It looks amazing.
Yeah, it does. And you can go on and hear the shows and see our Ghost Story archive and check out Phil's films from Film Zero, books from friends, interviews, and things like that. It's going to become a ghost site central. So, Debi.
Yes.
How have you been haunting yourself these days?
I have actually been very busy lately. I've had a lot of new investigations. I've been collecting information for the book, which was so much fun. A lot of new stories I found out, a lot of new things that I didn't know before. This book mostly focuses on the history behind the haunts, and there's been a lot of mystery surrounding one particular woman who died in 1881, about how she died. We discovered that.
Oh, that sounds great.
And you would think that it would end the mystery, but no, it just opened more questions.
Which group is this with?
This is with History Press.
That's Arcadia, right?
Yes, Arcadia.
Yeah. They've done some good like true crime, haunting, ghost story kind of.
Actually, I'm going to tackle true crime next.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm going to do a murder and mayhem.
Are you going to write, it's going to be fiction, nonfiction, or?
Nonfiction. It's going to be for Arcadia Press.
Oh, they do a lot of that.
That's really cool.
I have a lot of friends who've been published with them through, places like NoirCon.
That's awesome.
Well, you're doing some cool stuff there, Debi. So, You've had some investigations, and that's with your group. You're still the Shadow Stalkers, if I recall?
Yes. We've had a couple. A lot of the ones for the book I just did because I live out here and my partner lives a ways away. And I have to thank all the people in the area, in the Anchor Bay area, for just opening up their lives and sharing their stories with me. They were awesome. I couldn't have done it without them.
So Anchor Bay, Michigan. I mean, I've been to Michigan, but I'm not familiar with Anchor Bay. What kind of an area is Anchor Bay?
It's actually a bay that's on Lake St. Clair. It's on the northwest side of Lake St. Clair. It's bordered by New Baltimore, Chesterfield Township, Harrison Township. It just all surrounds the bay. There's some other towns, Fairhaven. There's a lot of towns up there. If I missed anybody, I apologize.
A lot of history there?
A lot of great history there. It used to be heavily populated by Native Americans. There's, within 20 miles of me, 5 Native American burial grounds. So there's probably more that haven't been discovered yet.
I can imagine.
It has a rich history. Used to be, the town of New Baltimore used to be one of the major shipping ports on the Great Lakes back in the day.
I see that.
Yeah, part of the canal system leading from New York, and all those canals would interconnect and then hit the Great Lakes.
From Lake St. Clair, you can get literally anywhere in the world by water.
Wow.
Right, yeah.
That's incredible. See, now I want to go there.
Yeah, it sounds like a lovely and chilly place.
It does. Yeah, well, chilly.
It is. It's really...
I want to go there in July.
Yeah, it's really a fun place. You know, it's a big boating community. A lot of really good restaurants. In the winter, they have, snowmobile races and ice boat races and ice fishing, which is just not my thing, but people seem to enjoy it.
I know people who ice fish in these little shacks, and they have a television and a heater and hot coffee.
Yeah, there's shacks all over the bay. In the wintertime,
right?
It's awesome.
That's not ice fishing. That's
Yeah.
If I could ice fish like that, I would.
Right.
We always have the snowmobiles and trucks that go through the ice in the spring, and it just keeps it interesting.
So on your investigations, and I know you talked about the one, were there a couple that really stand out in your mind, and would you tell us about them?
Actually, we had something really strange happen. Every October, I do a ghost talk in Oakwood Cemetery in New Baltimore. And this year, it's October 14th at 7 o'clock, so everyone come. It's $5 a person. And last year we had 245 people show up. And we gather around the small building that's actually on the cover of the book. And I tell ghost stories. And actually, last year at the event, it was perfect. We had a full moon and bats. What more could you ask for? But my partner Kim was taking pictures of the event, and we caught a full body apparition also attending the event.
Oh, wow.
We're still trying to figure out who it was. We found the tombstone he was standing by, so we think we might have narrowed it down a little bit. That was really fun because we didn't know he was there till afterwards. So we went to the restaurant, and she showed it to me. She goes, "Look, I got an orb." And I said, "Oh, that's a pretty orb." So you totally ignore the full body apparition standing next to it.
Oh my God. That's crazy. Oh my. Opportunity missed.
That was awesome. It's actually on our Facebook page, Shadow Stalkers.
We'll put up a link to that.
Yeah,
on
I want
the
to see
website.
that.
There's a picture of it on the webpage. It's not a very good picture, but if you look, you can see where the apparition is.
Wow.
The cemetery itself is a really bizarre place. I mean, cemeteries normally aren't haunted because there's nothing to emotionally attach.
Right. Mm-hmm. There's no energy from the pull off of.
Right, and there's nothing that really is an emotional attachment for most people, unless you're me and like cemeteries.
Right.
Every time I go, there's something different happens. Like, especially in the winter, if we go in the winter, you'll hear footsteps crunching in the snow behind you, and you turn around and you see the footprints, but there's no one there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm.
And they stop when you stop, and they're not your footprints. It's a separate track from where you've been walking.
Right, wow.
And they stay like a little distance away. Then if you start walking again, they'll start walking with you. And it usually centers around the Hathaway graves.
I might try that this winter. When it snows, go into a cemetery. I'm going to try that.
We've caught EVPs of children giggling and running around in the cemetery. I mean, it's in a residential area, but when we go, obviously there's no one out there.
Mm-hmm.
And even during the day, we've had some bizarre experiences. Like there's a little building when you pull in, and right now it's used for just storing the equipment they use to maintain the cemetery, like the lawnmowers and, all that stuff. There's a little bench that wraps around the building. And if you sit on that bench, which I've done many times, and, I'm usually reading something, writing something down about the cemetery, doing some research, and when you look up, if you're not paying attention when you're sitting there, all of a sudden you'll see these shadow people that pretty much have you surrounded.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And they're peeking at you from beyond tombstones and trees, and everyone says it's shadows, and I'm like, yeah, not so much,
Yeah, wow.
Shadow people. Yeah.
And they don't feel threatening or anything. I think they're just curious about why you're there. They don't.
And those
act
are the
like
really
normal.
old spirits, correct?
They could be, because according to some old maps I've been able to look at, there is a high possibility, probably a 98% possibility, that on the land behind the cemetery there was once a Native American settlement there.
Mm-hmm.
That might have something to do with it, or it could just be that the spirits are curious about who's there. There's one spirit we call the guardian of the gate, and he hangs out by the front gate, and when you're taking pictures, he'll show up as like a mist and almost like the form of a person. And if you ask him to pose for the camera, he'll hold his arms out and he'll cross his legs and almost bow.
Oh.
Very interactive.
Wow, does that. I know some ghost hunters and paranormal investigators who just go out and find nothing. I mean, it's a desert, but you're just out there and they're coming to you.
The whole town is haunted. I mean, it could be on haunted towns. It is. Mm-hmm. And the people love their ghosts. They embrace them. They don't want them to leave. It's very welcoming for them. So, of course, they're going to stay.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
It's just amazing what's out there. I mean, I've had ghost hunts where nothing's happened lots of times. Everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
But every once in a while, you just hit upon that gold mine of activity.
Right.
The Grand Pacific House Museum, which houses the New Baltimore Historical Society, we've investigated that place twice. Mm-hmm. And it's also a very interesting place. There's someone that follows you up and down the stairs, and we're not sure if it's the old owner who built it in 1881, Losh, Mr. Losh, or his wife Emma. But I feels like a man to me, so I think it's him. Of course, there's a lot of objects in the museum that probably have something attached to them. We have old embalming tables.
Oh, jeez.
Bricks from a lot of the buildings that are no longer standing that have a lot of energy in them. So it's always interesting to figure out who's who when you go in there.
So let's pause here to play our first ghost story from Debi Chestnut's new book, Haunted Anchor Bay, Michigan. And when is that available?
It is available for pre-order right now, and it comes out October 9th.
We'll have links up on the website at www.whatareyoufraidofpodcast.com. And when you go on the website, you're going to go, oh my word, this can't be the same website. It is. It's just new.
It looks different.
We're looking professional here, people. It's scary. We're going to gain real powers.
Scary good.
Scary good. So this is the Ouija Board from Debi Chestnut on What Are You Afraid of? Horror and Paranormal Show. The Ouija Board, from the book Haunted Anchor Bay, Michigan, by paranormal author and investigator Debi Chestnut. The debate about Ouija boards has raged on over a period of decades. Some people insist that the Ouija board is just a harmless toy. Others claim it's capable of opening the door between the world of the living and the dead, allowing any type of entity, both good and evil, to pass through it and into the realm of the living. It's hard to ignore the sheer number of stories throughout the years as it relates to the Ouija board. While most of the tales about the phenomenon that has occurred while using a Ouija board are interesting, there's one story that this author heard about while researching this book that is fascinating. However, I can't validate the facts of the story. A few years ago, Jenny and Pete were at a flea market at the Anchor Bay area and impulsively purchased a Ouija board from one of the vendors. They took it home and used it a few times with mixed results. The board ended up being put on a shelf in the hall closet and basically forgotten about until Jenny and Pete decided to move into a new home. Like so many other people, when they were getting ready to move, they cleaned out the closets, the drawers, and the rest of the house to have a garage sale. The Ouija board was marked with a green $3 price tag and put out for sale. By the end of the garage sale, most of the items were gone, the Ouija board included. You would think that would be the end of the story, but it isn't. Several months after moving into their new home, the young couple began to experience some paranormal activity in their home. Occasionally, doors would open and close by themselves, lights would blink on and off, and sometimes they would hear footsteps walking up and down the basement steps. Jenny and Pete figured they had some ghost sharing their space, and it really didn't bother them all that much because they never really felt threatened by the presence, and the activity wasn't that frequent. One day, Jenny was in the basement going through some plastic containers that contained items that they had not unpacked yet when she came upon a Ouija board at the bottom of one of the containers. At first, Jenny was confused as she knew they hadn't purchased another Ouija board, but her confusion turned to fear when she saw that green little price tag marked with $3 on the top of the box. She asked Pete about the board when he came home from work, but he swore he hadn't pulled the board from the garage sale. Jenny believed him because for some reason, although she didn't know the person's name, distinctly remembered the woman she'd sold the board to at the garage sale. Jenny was so shaken up by the reappearance of the Ouija board that she donated it to charity along with several other items. After some time, Jenny and Pete were expecting their first child and were cleaning out a spare bedroom to make room for this nursery. Tucked in between two blankets on the shelf of the closet, Pete found the Ouija board with the green $3 sticker on the top of the box. Jenny and Pete became so disturbed at the sudden return of the Ouija board that they just decided they wanted out of their house, gone and forever. After some research, they decided to break the Ouija board into exactly 7 pieces, sprinkle it with holy water, and bury it. On a trip to northern Michigan the next weekend, Jenny and Pete found a peaceful place in the woods that seemed appropriate. Pete dug a rather deep hole and buried the Ouija board. This was several years ago, and to date, the Ouija board hasn't shown up yet, and if it has, Pete and Jenny have yet to find its hiding place. But at last report, all paranormal activity in their home has ceased. Jenny and Pete's story is not the first that claims the Ouija board has returned to its owner time and time again, and it certainly won't be the last. There's another story from a different state that claims another couple was in the same situation that Jenny and Pete found themselves in. This couple, however, after reading so many different opinions on how to properly destroy a Ouija board, gave the board to a friend of theirs who owned a store that specialized in oddities. Their one condition to letting him have the board is that it remain in the store and never be sold. As far as anyone knows, the Ouija board still resides in the store.
Mercy, a new horror medical thriller from author T. Fox Dunham, published by Bloodbound Books. Based on the author's horrific battle with a rare form of lymphoma that involved intense chemotherapy and radiation, Fox turns the horror of his experience into terror on the page.
William Saint is dying of cancer. On most days, death seems like a humane alternative to the treatment. Stricken with fever, William is rushed to Mercy, notorious as a place to send the sickest of the poor and uninsured to be forgotten, and finds the hospital in even worse condition than his previous visit.
Willie's memories faded. He grabbed his sack head of the scarecrow, picking at the exposed chicken wire to hold them in. However, the memories fell out of the holes in his face. They wormed and crawled from the leather flesh and the old clothing of the scarecrow, then squirmed and wiggled down his body.
The grounds are unkempt, the foundation is cracking, and like the wild mushrooms sprouting from the fissures of decay around it, something is growing inside the hospital. Something dark.
Fangoria gives Mercy 3.5 out of 4 skulls. Dunham has channeled his many brushes with the other side into the exquisitely rendered, lyrical, supernatural hospital thriller Mercy.
It's feeding on the sickness and sustaining itself on the staff, changing them, and now it wants Willie.
Come now, Mr. Saint. Just a little more of that sweet milk. So salty and so good. You won't miss it. And we ever do so like our delicacies here at Mercy Hospital.
Part medical horror, part supernatural suspense, Mercy is a hard-hitting fever dream of a novel. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Tim Wagner, author of The Way of All Flesh and Eat the Night. Available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and bookstores everywhere in both print and digital versions.
Life is an addiction.
Let go. Let it all burn.
Caliburn Press, LLC is a Madison, Wisconsin-based publishing company owned and operated by Alan Ledden. Caliburn works with talented writers, artists, editors, and marketers throughout the United States, and you can find their books through their many imprints that include Damnation Books, Eternal Press, Malaferia Press, Ciento Sordida Publishing, and Spiro Publishing. Please visit their website at sites.google.com/site/Caliburn Press LLC/home, or Google Caliburn Press to check out their growing list of titles on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and any other place fine books are sold.
You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows, visit electronicmediacollective.com.
Rat, where are you going?
I'm going back to the Paranormal View, back where I belong.
Please, take me with you.
No, I'm through with everything here. I want to see if there's something left in life I haven't explored. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Rat, don't run to them. They talk about ghosts and hauntings, UFOs, and all kind of supernatural scary stuff.
You'll never understand, will you, Scarlet?
No!
Well, that's your misfortune.
Rat, if you go, where shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear... Line!
You gotta be kidding.
That's the Paranormal View with your host, Henry Foister, Jeffrey Gould, Kat Cloco, and Barbara Duncan. Every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the Para X Radio Network.
And we're back. That was a great story.
It's kind of classic, the folklore context, the returning doll.
Yeah.
You know, the haunted doll that they'll put out in the porch or they'll put in the garbage and it just keeps coming back. It doesn't actually do anything.
Right, it just keeps coming back.
But I mean, they finally spritzed it with holy water and did a kind of exorcism, and
it's like Annabelle, you know.
I mean, like Annabelle, yeah. Right? We're back with Debi Chestnut, paranormal author and investigator. She's a paranormal adventurer.
That's right.
Out of Michigan, and we were just talking about some of your recent ghost hunts, and yes. I know you've always had a strong connection to the paranormal.
Yes.
Ever since you were young, yeah, and. Yeah. That was difficult growing up as a child with.
It was in the era I grew up with. Mm-hmm. Now it's probably not as difficult because it's kind of out there in your face. But when I was growing up in the, I hate to date myself, but in the 60s, early 70s as a teenager, yeah, it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
So you hit it. And it was like, it got to be, with me, it almost got to be almost like a private joke with me and the ghost.
Mm-hmm.
It's really widespread now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's more. I think society's accepted it a bit more now.
I think
even
so.
In our culture.
I'm still surprised at how many people still don't share their stories because that stereotype, I guess, is still with it. My goal is to make it so people can come to me and say, "Look, this is what happened," and give them a safe environment to share their story. And, try to help them because that's not out there that much, really. At least not here. Maybe in other parts of the country it is, but here, not that much.
Right, and I remember as we were talking, you started talking about a demon that you had some entanglements with for years called Aman.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd read that book, and it'd been so terrifying to me, and you wrote it under another name.
Right.
And then I discovered that, I'm like, oh my word, I'm talking to her, too. You know, that was just... Are there, personal question, you don't have to answer it. Are there any revelations about your time with Aman that you've never told anyone?
Oh. I think the only thing that really caught me off guard, and still to this day, there's two things I can't figure out. I think I underplayed how powerful he is, how powerful they are. And I'm sorry I did that because people really need to know how powerful they are. They can kill you. I think I downplayed that a little bit because I was trying to reassure myself that I was out of danger, and it was a lie. You're never away from it. I don't think you can't outrun it. There's nowhere to go. He still pops in about once or twice a year just to let me know he knows where I am. And I think what really surprises me about that is that I no longer fear him. And that's probably really misguided on my part. But I no longer fear him. It's like I feel his energy and I go, yeah, I know you're here. I don't know. maybe there's like some kind of connection there, and I just don't know what it is.
It's a lot like somebody who's possessive of somebody. Possessive to be possessing, I guess.
Right.
And they become, and they
You
want to
know,
let you.
And then the second thing I could never figure out, and I don't think I've ever told anyone, is while all this was going on, there was a gray wolf, the spirit of a gray wolf, that would show up at my house. And I didn't feel afraid of him. My dogs weren't afraid of him. He would lay under my desk. He would just hang out at the house every once in a while. He would be in the car with me once in a while. And I didn't feel threatened by him. During the first time Amon started to attack, before he started to attack at me at my house, this gray wolf actually jumped in front of me to defend me. But I still don't know if it was on my side or if it was Amon in another form.
Trying to trick you and play with your head.
Maybe trying to lull me into a sense of false security, because, a demon can't possess or occupy a space unless you welcome it into your life.
So you think that's what his ultimate goal was, to take possession of you?
No, I don't think it was. Maybe eventually. I don't know. I can't say for sure, but I don't think so. I never felt that. I felt more like, I felt two things. Three things, actually. Unbelievable fear. I have never felt raw terror like that in my entire life, and I hope I never feel it again. Number two, I think in his own way, maybe he was trying to educate me about demons.
So you could, pass along the information sort of thing?
I know it sounds weird, and he was the first demon I ever came across. When I came across him, I didn't believe in demons.
Okay.
And I think maybe he was trying to tell me, no, we exist, and this is what we can do. And if you want to help other people, you need to know this. I mean, I know it sounds weird because that's not how a demon would normally behave, but I can't shake the feeling that he was trying to do that, because I would go over there and I did everything wrong. I would go over there and I would poke him with a stick just to get a reaction, so I could learn about what they do and what they can do and how they behave and what their triggers are. And he had every opportunity to take me out more than once, and he didn't.
Okay. All right, so it sounds like almost a game.
Yeah.
It felt like a game. I mean, at the end, when we came face to face for the last time, it was after I went to get rid of him and stopped. We came face to face in the cemetery. Wow. And it was almost like we were at a detente, I remember him telling me, we're more alike than you think. Wow. It's just I'm of the light and he's of the dark. But we both in that game, or whatever it was, were fighting for survival in one way or the other.
Wow, it almost makes them sound sympathetic.
Yeah.
And I would never say a demon was sympathetic, because they're not. I just can't figure that out. I just can't figure out why, when he had the chance, he didn't take me out. He had more than one chance.
In the mythology, demons are supposed to be fallen angels.
Yeah.
And that's if you go with that mythology. There's a lot of different viewpoints, but every faith system seems to have the good higher beings and the bad higher beings. And quite often the bad higher beings are good beings that fell. Wonder if some of its angelic nature still existed.
Remains to a point, yeah.
Maybe not all fallen angels lost all of their light.
Right.
That could be.
Just to let everybody know, if you heard a beeping while Phil and I were talking, those were our clown detectors.
Yeah. It was not a wine cellar at all.
No, it's not a wine cellar. It was a clown detector.
That was clown detector.
Do you guys hear about people tying red balloons to the grates in Minnesota?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a thing they did everywhere.
Oh, man.
Really upset Pennsylvania police officers.
It's really creepy.
Yeah, it's a clever idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, so what was the name of the book that I read where you write about Amon?
Encounter with Hell.
Encounter with Hell. Yeah, that was the one that really, probably one of the most scary books I've ever read. I'll be reading some more of your books this Halloween, because Halloween's coming up.
That's right.
Yes, I know, and I'm busy.
Well, I know it's the busiest time for us. It's like we're Santa's little elves, but evil, and it's Halloween.
It's like, I have the cemetery talk. I am doing a presentation on Halloween at Macomb County Community College.
That's pretty cool.
That's really awesome. Yeah, we're going to be at Fort Mifflin next weekend.
Yeah.
On September 16th, and a bunch of horror authors that I know are coming down, and Phil will be reading.
Right.
I'll be reading. We're planning on making it into a video special and an audio special. And we'll be up there. There'll be some ghost hunt going on. It's going to be really cool. And then you and I are going to be in Gettysburg.
Yeah, the following week.
The following weekend. Yeah. I know
I have not been to Gettysburg yet.
Oh, we're going to be sitting down with Mark Nesbitt, Mr. Ghost of Gettysburg.
Oh, that's going to be great.
Like if you ever watch a History Channel show, you know. He's there. It's him.
Yeah, I can't wait to meet him. It's gonna be
Phil
awesome.
can't wait. Yeah, we're going to sit down. We're going to do a 2-hour show with him. It's going to be live, too.
Yeah.
We're going to broadcast from Gettysburg on Saturday.
Wouldn't that be awesome to, just hang out there for, gosh.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And the time for that?
I think probably about 1.
Probably be around
1 o'clock.
Early afternoon.
Yeah, 1 o'clock in the afternoon we'll do the live show. And then we'll have the show recorded so we can, we'll be playing again. And you can find
2 hours.
What's that? We got 2 hours with Mark.
That's great. That's
I know.
Be a great show.
And I just sat down with the operations manager at Pennhurst yesterday, and looks like we're planning to go down for 2 nights at Pennhurst Asylum in October. We've got some cool events coming up. I say we'll be at Fort Mifflin, Pennhurst. I mean, it's going to be an awesome Halloween.
Yes, it is.
And we're going to be doing another Halloween and hand out some candy to the kids. We got some great guests coming on in the next month or 2. I'm still working that on. Some awesome ghost stories and some stuff in Gettysburg.
Yeah.
Which is going to be fantastic. Debi, let's talk about Debi the author. So, you're writing these stories. How much of the story do you preserve, and how much do you have to write the prose? Do you find yourself filling in missing pieces to create a complete narrative?
Not generally. I know it's nonfiction. You really can't take a lot of literary license. I think what I do is I try to, not so much with this book, but with the other books, I chose my words more carefully to try to set the tone. And when I was interviewing people for this book, I was asking, was it day? Was it night? Do you remember the weather? Was it rainy? Was it cloudy? Because then that way I could use factual information.
Right, okay.
To fill in, kind of set the mood. But mostly in this book, they're just straightforward stories. I don't take literary license in nonfiction.
So you were actually interviewing these people?
I talked to a lot of people, yes. Or they would find me and go, hey, I know you're working on this other book. If I got a story for you. And it was awesome. Some of it's folklore, like Puttigut Bridge, that's folklore. And legend, it's legendary. The Glowing Tomb, I actually went to the Glowing Tomb when I was young. And I can't find it now because everything's so built up. But I remember going there when I was young.
What's the Glowing Tomb?
The Glowing Tomb, I think it was on Romeo Plank. I can't remember road. I can't remember what road it was on. But I remember going there when I was young, and there was a cemetery, and there was an old deserted farmhouse next to it. And at the back of the cemetery, there was a tombstone that glowed green. And the folklore is that the farmer was despondent, next door was despondent because his wife had died and his crops had failed. And he hurled himself off the roof or out the second floor window of that house. And where he landed is where he was buried. And that's the tomb that glows green.
Oh, I like that.
And allegedly, the house was haunted. There were always rumors that someone came out from some university and tested the stone for phosphorus. And there wasn't any. But, it's all just folklore. No one really knows for sure. I'm sure somewhere on a cemetery, on some road I can't remember out here, there is still a tombstone that glows green. I'm pretty sure. I'm hoping when the book comes out that someone will go, oh, I know where that is. Yeah, it's still glowing. They'll get in touch with me so I can go back out there.
If you know it, get in touch with her.
Yeah. Morrow Road is legendary around here. I covered some cryptids this time. I did the Dogman of Michigan, the Bigfoot sightings around here.
Mm-hmm.
The Black Dog of Lake Eerie is...
That's the other one.
Yeah, that's the other story I sent you. It's a very interesting story.
Contact the author at her website at www.debi.chestnut.com.
And then there's also going to be a website for the book that I'm working on now. It's www.hauntedanchorbay.com. It's not up yet, so don't go there. But it'll be up when the book launches.
And you can find links to Phil's films from Film Zero up at the website at www.whatareyoufraidofpodcast.com. The new awesome website.
The new and improved. Website.
Yeah, it's Halloween time. For us, it's Halloween, even though it's September. We're getting into the mindset.
Any cool movies and you're going to watch? Look forward to watching this season, or?
I want to read World War Z again.
Oh, okay.
By Max Brooks, son of Mel Brooks.
Oh, really?
I'm looking forward to reading that again. And
I'm gonna read. Actually, I just started reading it. Halloween Party.
Okay.
Yeah, by Agatha Christie.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, I think it's the only Halloween themed book she ever written, but it was one of her later books. It was written in '69, and it was towards the end of her life. I believe she died in '76, so she was kind of getting older at that point. But I'm maybe like a couple chapters in. It's pretty good so far. I recommend it to anyone looking for something cool this Halloween to read.
How about you, Debbie? Are there any fun, besides all your work and ghost touring, any good movies or books that you want to read or that take you back to Halloween time?
Actually, I'm going to catch up on my movies. I want to see Annabelle. There's some I'm going to watch again, I think. I think I'm going to watch The Conjuring again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, those are fun ones.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I want to go see it, even though I heard it's really good. I'm not a big clown girl. Clowns scare me, so...
We wouldn't know anything about that. No.
I'm actually thinking of doing a mystery series. I'm going to have a creepy clown, I think, in one of them.
Well, you have to have a creepy clown.
Yeah.
Just ask J. Lee Dodson.
Yeah.
Clown guy.
Our clown detector has stopped beeping, so maybe the clown's gone.
Or they just turned it off.
Oh, they turned it off.
Yeah. Gummed it up with confetti or something.
That's disheartening.
Yeah, it is. I'm worried.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Debbie. This has been a wonderful show, and your book is out again when?
October 9th.
And you can pre-order Haunted Anchor Bay, Michigan by Debi Chestnut. We'll have links for it up on the site at www.whatareyouafraidofpodcast.com. And it sounds like you've got a wonderful month happening with your ghost stories and your events, and we'll have links if you're in the Michigan area.
Yeah.
Go check out Debbie and her stuff. It's been incredible talking to you again. I hope we get to do it again.
Me too. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Thank you, Debbie. Nice talking to you.
And don't forget, we will be at Fort Mifflin on September 16th, 2017. We have to say this because that's the year.
Yeah.
Because with people showing up next year,
this will air next year, and then we'll do a repeat, and then they'll show up.
Yeah, and they'll be like, "We're
a year from now. Where the heck are they?"
Phil and Fox lied to us.
Yeah, they ain't here.
Yeah. You can also hear Debbie's previous episode that we did last year on October 1st, episode 20, Shadow Stalking, based on her book Shadow Stalkers and her paranormal group. Okay, Debbie, well, you have a lovely Halloween, and get your spooky on. This has been Fox.
Get your spooky on. Yes, this is Phil.
And we're ending tonight with her collected ghost story from her book, Haunted Anchor Bay, Michigan. This is the Black Dog of Lake Erie on What Are You Afraid of? Horror and Paranormal Show.
On September 16th, the hosts of Philadelphia's ParaX Radio invite you to experience Horror at the Fort, Philadelphia Ghost Fest. It's a day of tours, vendors, paranormal investigations, live broadcasts, and horror readings. Though we warn you, one of the tour guides may be a ghost who volunteers here at this historic site. Tickets for daytime events are $10, or stay for the whole day for just $45, including the nocturnal ghost hunt, the buildings and grounds of Mud Island Fort. Parax Radio hosts will be broadcasting, and horror authors from the Horror Writers Association will be reading their newest dark literature during a dusk event. Learn more at www.fortmifflin.us. Join Parax Radio on September 16th for a day and night of horror. And if you hear the screaming woman, don't worry, you're not the only one.
Parax.
The Black Dog of Lake Erie. From the book Haunted Anchor Bay, Michigan, by paranormal author and investigator Debi Chestnut. The gales of November are often accused of being the culprit in the mysterious disappearances of ships on the Great Lakes. And make no mistake, the gales have sunk many a ship over the years. However, there may be another reason, paranormal in nature, that may explain why some ships sink into the murky depths of the Great Lakes and Lake St. Clair alike. The Black Dog, better known as the Black Dog of Lake Erie. Unlike one of the hellhounds that have been known to cause chaos in various locations around the world, the Black Dog is the ghost of a dog that used to be a ship mascot. It's believed that when the dog appears on a ship, it's a bad omen for the ship and crew alike. The origin of the legend of the Black Dog finds its roots in the Welland Canal near Niagara Falls. It's said that a ship was traveling through the canal when their mascot, a black dog, fell or was pushed off the ship. The dog was an extremely large Newfoundland, known for their abilities in the water. No one is exactly sure what happened, but there are tales that for sport, they would tie the dog to a long rope and make it swim alongside the ship. What really matters is that the dog, on this particular occasion, was crushed to death in the gate of the canal lock. It reportedly took hours for them to dislodge the dog's body from the gate of the canal, only to have their nights haunted by the baying of the dead dog that was treated so cruelly that they didn't save. Since that time, the ghostly dog appears on ships that are going to run into trouble, and the stories have implied that the dog is cursing the ships and causing them to sink. Others believe just the opposite, and that the dog is trying to warn people that the ship is going to run into danger. One description of the Black Dog says that he has eyes like coals of fire, which is what has led people to believe the dog might not have the best interest of the ship in mind when he appears. According to stories, the Black Dog will either appear on board the doomed ship or climb aboard from the water, race across the deck, and then jump off the other side. Soon after that, the ship will run into trouble. It's widely believed that the Black Dog caused the sinking of the ship Mary Jane in Lake Erie on November 19, 1881. The Mary Jane, a schooner built in 1862, was carrying a load of telephone poles when a storm crashed into the shore near Port Rowan, Ontario, snapping the ship into pieces and causing the death of all 9 crew members. Now you could say that it's the storm that caused the Mary Jane to wreck, and you would be right, except for the simple fact that the workers on the wharves at Port Colborne, Ontario, near where the ship crashed, saw the Black Dog leap from the schooner and vanish as soon as it set foot on the dock. While it is nicknamed the Black Dog of Lake Erie, it's been blamed for shipwrecks in some of the other Great Lakes as well. Perhaps the vengeful Newfoundland has just left fewer witnesses in Lake Erie than some of the other wrecks it's credited with causing. One of the victims of the Black Dog is the ship Isaac G. Jenkins that sank on November 30th, 1875 in Lake Ontario, quite possibly near Oswego, New York. For those of you that don't know, Lake Ontario is right next to Lake Erie. The story goes that the helmsman woke up the captain one night and told him he'd seen a large Newfoundland climb aboard the ship, run across the deck, and then leap overboard into the darkness. The captain, instead of listening to the helmsman, angrily accused the man of drinking on the job. The helmsman either quit or was thrown off the ship at Port Colborne. The story goes that the helmsman followed the ship as it traveled along the same canal that was the origin of the Black Dog legend. He gave constant warnings to the crew when they stopped along the way, but the warnings fell on deaf ears. The Isaac G. Jenkins simply vanished en route to Oswego, New York. While some of the wreckage floated ashore, the crew members were never found. The night the ship sank, a farmer just west of Oswego saw a large black dog come to the surface in the waters of Lake Ontario. He said that the dog's back legs appeared to be paralyzed and its fur was matted. The dog vanished into the darkness. According to stories, the black dog was seen on other ships that sunk as well. The Thomas Hume sunk May 21st, 1891 in Lake Michigan. That story goes that the schooner had been sailing along with another ship, the Ruth Simmons, when a gale caused the Ruth Simmons to turn around and head for a safe harbor. The Thomas Hume and its crew vanished into the dark waters in 1891 with no traces of the ship or crew being found, until it was finally discovered in 2005. The Phantom Black Dog also shows up in Michigan folklore as being seen on the Isaac G. Jenkins and the Phoebe Catherine before they sank as well. It only stands to reason that if the Black Dog shows up on other ships in other Great Lakes besides Lake Erie, then it is certainly feasible that the Black Dog could have shown up on some of the ships that have sunk on Lake St. Clair. Some sailors, being a superstitious lot, may not have reported all the sightings of the Phantom Black Dog showing up on ships before they ran into trouble or sunk.
Keith Fox Dunham lives in Philadelphia with his wife Allison. He's a lymphoma survivor, cancer patient, modern bard and historian. His first book, The Street Martyr, was published by Gutter Book. A major motion picture based on the book is being produced by Throughline Films. Destroying the Tangible Illusion of Reality or Searching for Andy Kaufman, a book about what it's like to be dying of cancer, was recently released from Perpetual Motion Machine Publishing, and Fox has a story in the Stargate anthology, Points of Origin, from MGM and Fandemonium Books. Mercy was recently released by Bloodbound Books. Fox is an active member of the Harbor Association. He's been published in hundreds of short stories and articles, and his motto is Wrecking Civilization, one story at a time.
Phil Thomas resides in the suburbs of Philadelphia and is an author and filmmaker. His screenplays have been produced into feature films such as False Face and Always from Darkness that are available in major retailers such as Best Buy and Target, as well as availability on Netflix and Amazon On Demand.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.